Let's quickly explore permutations because they can be a problem when people are working with the Events2Metrics tool, so we just want to make sure people completely understand them. So we can see here that what I'm in is the span duration, so it's a span to metric configuration. I'm grabbing all the logs. I've defined a single metric field, duration ms. Now when I go on to labels here, I can see some stuff. So I've made 3 labels for for each of my metric series: service, action, and error. Now this means that per day I'm generating 107, 108, roughly 106 different permutations per day. Now, what does this mean? This means that there are 106 different combinations of the unique values of service, action, and error. Okay, so if you have like 5 services and 3 actions, then you have to draw a line between each of the 5 services and each of the 3 actions, in which case there would be 15. And then on top of that, if there are like, I don't know, 10 different errors, then each of those 15 permutations also now have to line up to another 10, and it kind of explodes a little bit. So what you need to be able to do is say, okay, but it's tricky to work out, but this is why we have this graph below that actually shows the permutations per day. This will give you some idea of how many permutations are going to be used by a given metric. So just to illustrate how quickly these things can blow up, let's say I make a label called thread name. So there should be a tags thread name here, and I hit refresh. When I add a new field or add a new label here, I hit refresh, and that means that the application is going to go and look for the past week and see how many permutations there are. And you can see that by just adding thread name, I've increased everything by a factor of 10. So you can see these things can blow up. If I was to add another one, it might increase it by a factor of 10 again and again and again and again. So the reason why permutations can be confusing is because you can obviously run into your 10 million permutations per account limit. So what I would recommend is when you're thinking about your labels, think, do they have lots of unique values? And if they do have lots of unique values, then how many of those am I going to be adding in? And make use of this metrics permutations graph so you completely understand how many metrics you're going to be generating. And then you can allocate a number of permutations for this particular account. So there's like 1,100 a day, 1,200, 1,100, 1,100, and so on, which means 30,000 is probably a comfortable number. So what you should do is, step 1, add the labels you want and don't worry about permutations. Refresh, look at what that's going to do to your daily permutation rate and think, okay, what's my budget for permutations? Well, I have 9.3 million left, so yeah, fine, let's go nuts. If your budget's a little bit lower, then maybe think, okay, do I need this label? Can I find a more efficient way of getting this label, and so on. So that's just a quick word on permutations because it can get a little bit confusing and a bit difficult, but hopefully this explains and gives you some tools for how to balance the number of labels and the number of high cardinality labels versus the number of permutations and the budget of permutations you've got in your Coralogix account.